You are 20 years old, sitting on a broken stone block in the smoking ruins of what used to be Troy. Your sandals are stained with the blood of men you didn't know, and your throat is raw from screaming victory. 10 years ago, you left your father's farm in Ithaca because a smooth-talking king promised you glory, gold, and a quick voyage home. You survived the spears of Hector, the wrath of Achilles, and the final, brutal night of slaughter. You think the war is over. You think you've won. You look at your king, Odysseus, standing on the prow of his flagship, his eyes dark, his mind already spinning the next great plan. You climb aboard with 11 other ships full of men who just want to see their wives again. You don't know it yet, but you will never see Ithaca. You just signed your life away to the ocean. The ocean is a living wound, and the further you sail from Greece, the more the reality you know begins to fracture. Your first stop is a beach that smells like honey and old wine, the island of the Lotus Eaters. 3 of your tentmates walk inland to scout. When they return, they aren't men anymore. Their eyes are glassy, their smiles empty. They drop their swords into the sand and calmly tell you they aren't going back. They forget their mothers, their children, their own names. It's a terrifying psychological trap, a blissful, slow-motion death of the soul. You have to watch Odysseus drag them back to the ship, screaming and weeping, tying them beneath the rowing benches like cargo. But the real horror doesn't offer a peaceful sleep. Trapped in a mountain cavern, you hear the wet, heavy crunch before you see the monster. Polyphemus, a Cyclops whose single eye is as wide as a war shield, reaches down and grabs 2 of your friends by their ankles. He smashes their brains out against the stone floor like ripe melons and devours them raw, bones cracking between his teeth. You huddle in the dark, breathing through your teeth because crying out means you're next. You watch Odysseus offer the giant unwatered wine. You watch your king whisper that his name is nobody. And when the giant passes out, you are the one holding the white-hot, sharpened wooden stake, driving it straight into the monster's eye socket with a horrific hiss of burning flesh. You escape under the bellies of the sheep, trembling but alive. But as the ship pulls away, your king cannot hold his tongue. He screams his true name across the water. You see the giant lift his face to the sky, calling upon his father Poseidon to curse your ship. That's when you know your king's pride will kill you all. To find the path home, your king decides you must travel to a place where the sun never shines, the threshold of the underworld. You dig a trench in the ash-black dirt, pour out the blood of a sacrificed ram, and watch the shadows rise. Ghostly, translucent shapes of dead comrades from Troy drift through the fog, begging for a taste of life. You see the ghost of Odysseus's mother, her eyes weeping dust. You are forced to hear the great warrior Achilles whisper from the dark, "I would rather be a slave on earth than a king of all the dead." The psychological weight is crushing. You realize that in this world, even if you survive, you are just a ghost waiting for a body. You return to the surface, but the sea demanded its toll. You block your ears with thick beeswax so you don't hear the sirens, but you have to watch your king tied tightly to the mast, his face contorted in madness, screaming and foaming at the mouth to throw himself into the waves. And then comes Scylla. You are rowing through a narrow strait when 6 slithering, reptilian necks drop from the cliffs above. 6 of your friends are plucked straight out of their seats. You look up and see them dangling in the air, their legs kicking wildly, screaming your name as the monster's teeth snap their bones in half. You don't stop rowing. You can't. If you stop, you join them. You are 28 now. Your hair is gray, your joints ache from a decade of sea spray, and your soul is hollow. You are stranded on the island of the sun, and your crew is starving to death. Odysseus tells you not to touch the sacred cattle of Helios, but hunger is a master that doesn't listen to kings. You slaughter the cows. You eat the meat. The gods do not negotiate. The moment your ship leaves the shore, Zeus drops an absolute hammer of lightning from a cloudless sky. The ship explodes into a million burning splinters. The sea rushes into your lungs, cold and final. As you sink into the infinite blue abyss, your last sight is Odysseus, clinging to a single piece of the mast, floating away into the distance. You died for his journey. 20 years later, a beggar walks into the palace of Ithaca, strings a legendary bow, and paints the floor red with the blood of 100 suitors. The world will write poems about his triumph, his cleverness, and his return. No one will ever speak your name. Your bones are sitting at the bottom of a nameless ocean, hidden in the dark, just another shadow the king stepped on to get back to his throne. You were the wooden oars. You were the spilled blood. You were the lost legacy.